What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be talking about board wipes. So I have filmed 2 parts of this already, and basically I like to divide these types of videos up into parts because then I'll be stuck talking about like 50 magic cards in one video, and I'm really bad at that, hence why my deck decks are like a million pieces a lot of times, because I'm like, ugh, I'm talking about so many magic cards that I think are really sweet. So, yeah, basically I like to do these like list kind of videos because I feel like if I was new in EDH and I like watched a video like this would really help trying to see like different board wipes, different cards that I can put in my EDH decks, things like that. So I do want to do a video talking about this, and let's get started. So the first card I want to talk about is Merciless Eviction. If you're running these colors in EDH, you need this card. It's really sweet. I run this in Super Friends, actually, and it's funny, is like this is a card that I would probably have not even put in the deck, but basically like how I got a lot of my cards for Super Friends is I traded Jace away when Jace was like casually like $70, and now he's like not $70. So I traded him away to my friend Nate, who had a bunch of pieces of Super Friends. That's how I ended up getting like a lot of pieces. Like I got my doubling season, like I got some sweet cards, and I got a foil Merciless Eviction actually, which is really awesome. And so I was like, yo, like that's really pretty and I really need that. And he was like, yeah, the card's a house. And then I run it in Super Friends, and guys, it's just so nuts. It's one of those cards that like, it's something that I tutor for, because you know what, like, you know when like you have EDH decks and you put specific cards in there for specific people, but then they're useful against other people? This card is really useful against my friend Paul. Paul has an artifact deck, and the deck is really good. I've featured it on my channel a bunch, his Karn deck, and like, he a lot of times will get like Ulamog out, and I just can't do anything about it. But Merciless Eviction is one of those cards that, like, and I told him, I was like, listen, if you ever get Ulamog out in most games, I probably just straight up lose, because I can't answer that card. And if I do, it's like one answer in my deck. And yes, this is one answer in my deck, but like, I have a lot of ways of like, I have a couple ways of like tutoring and like getting it. So, yeah, this card is just really sweet. If I get to like the late stage of the game where I really need that, I can like Conflux for it or whatever. Get hit by one Ulamog, exile it the next turn. Okay, sounds good to me. So yeah, it's just really good. It's just like, you know what, like sometimes you get rid of your things. Like sometimes you do. Sometimes like you do have artifacts, like you get rid of your like Soul Ring or whatever. You probably don't care. You get rid of your creatures. Yeah, get rid of my, like, 3/3 beast token that I made from Garrick. Like, you don't even care about that. Or you exile all enchantments to get rid of, like, I don't know, someone who's playing, like, a Daxos deck. Like, that deck floats around sometimes randomly for EDH. And then you exile Planeswalkers. Probably you don't want to do that unless someone else is playing Super Friends and you have no Super Friends, and then you exile their Planeswalkers. Overall, it's one of the best board wipes in the game. It's every single, like, Orzhov color deck needs as an EDH. It's just a house. It's super good. Run the card. It's awesome. Okay. Guys, is it surprising to you that I talk to my students similarly to how I film YouTube videos? I think that just makes sense. They'll be like, I don't know, like, I'll be like talking about something, or like how I feel like in the future I'll talk to my students like when I like actually start running classes by myself, and I'm just gonna be like, alright guys, you gotta put citations on things. You gotta do it, alright? Just put citations on things, too. It's me as a teacher, basically. Yeah, okay. So, another board wipe that's super good is All Is Dust. You know, it's so funny, is someone had actually asked me if I was running this in Super Friends, and I was like, why would I run this in Super Friends? Because it exiles my Planeswalkers, and I don't want that. But All Is Dust is just super good. It gets around, and I should have said this Merciless Eviction too, it's exile, keep that in mind. It doesn't care about protection, doesn't care about indestructible, it doesn't care about hexproof. Did I say hexproof already? I don't remember. No, I said protection. Hexproof, it doesn't care about any of those things. All Is Dust is very similar to that. Also, the flaw in the card, I guess, is each player. So if someone is like randomly running like Leyline of Sanctity, I don't really know why you're running that card in EDH. I don't know, maybe some people do run that card in EDH. Oh, maybe in like Daxos, actually, that makes sense. But like, I feel like that's not a card that a lot of people run in EDH. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, it's from my playgroup, from what I've seen, it's not a super popular card. But yeah, like, the card's just really, really good. Sacrifice, like, let me tell you something, when I had my Mugus God of Slaughter deck, and now I just got Feels because I totally missed that deck. That deck was sweet, by the way. It was a black-red Sacrifice deck. It was basically, like, the whole point of it was, like, people sack their creatures, and then, like, I sack my creatures, and then I just make a bunch of tokens, and I have Perforos, and the deck was really sweet. It just didn't do enough, and whatever. I didn't want to, like, really fix the deck to make it, like, super good, so I took it apart. But, yeah, let me tell you something. Because I played with Sacrifice for a while, it's a super, super good mechanic to have an EDH when people, again, have those things like Hexproof, Indestructible, and you're like, I can't get around those things, what do I do? All's Dust is really good. Also, keep in mind, it's all colorless mana, so this is like if you need board wipes, you know, and you're like running a color that doesn't, like green, for example. Like, green doesn't really have that many good board wipes, All's Dust is gonna be like a really good option for you, so yeah, awesome. Okay, then I really, really don't know how to say this card. There's obviously gonna be pictures here, but Nevinyrral's Disc, is that even remotely right? Don't know. I promise I can read Shakespeare. I actually can read Shakespeare pretty okay. Some of these Magic cards names though, I got no idea. Okay, I personally am not a huge fan of this card. And which is weird to be like, why am I talking about it in a video? I know a lot of other people are a fan of this card, so I want to talk about it anyway. I don't like the fact that it comes in tapped and that it sticks around and someone can just destroy it. I think it's just a vulnerable card, but if you're running some sort of, like, artifact synergy, like, I know artifacts, like, with Kaladesh coming out, you know, it's gonna be, like, this huge thing, and, like, artifacts are gonna be floating around, like, everywhere. You know, you're gonna have ways to, like, untap your artifacts. I think if you're running, like, that sort of deck, I like this card, but if you're not, if you're just throwing it in for a board wipe, I just feel like there's better options. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's just other things. I just don't like how it sticks around. Some people actually like that, and some people like how they're like, they play politically with this card, and they're like, well, you know, I won't blow up the board if you don't attack me, or like something like that. So it's, if you do that whole thing, I could understand, you know, you're playing politics, whatever, but in the average, like, EDH deck, I just think there's better things. I get why people play it, though. It's just not my favorite. Okay, then we have Austere Command, and I remember I was like, flipping through pages, what? No, I was like looking through Magic cards. I don't know why I said flipping through pages, okay. And I saw this card and I was like, why don't I run this card in Avacyn? I'm really confused as to why I don't, and I feel like I totally should, and I think I just need to pick up a copy. Oh, I know why, it's because of $10. That's why. Yeah, okay, I remember now. The card's really good. So you have your options, you know, decks that are running lots of artifacts, which are floating around, things like, what's that deck called? Ready? Yeah, that deck. Enchantments, Daxos, that's a deck. And or other decks too that run a lot of those enchantments and artifacts. Or, you know, it just gets rid of creatures. But you have options, which is really awesome. Definitely play with politics with this card. I think this card's sweet. I think it's just a really solid board wipe and just so good. I like it. Then we have Martial Coup. So, like, this card is so good because it's like, it not only, like, destroys things, but it just gives you dudes. So, like, any cards in Magic that are, like, multi-purpose, I'm a huge fan of. So, I'm a huge fan of this card because you get to destroy all other creatures for a total of 7 mana, and then you get 5 1/1s on the battlefield. So, you blow up everyone else's board. This is a card that I should actually also be running in Super Friends. Put that on the list of cards that I need, and this card is also not expensive, so I should be picking it up because the card's really good. I'm a fan. I like it. Okay, then we have Gaze of Granite. Okay, try saying that 12 times fast. I can't do it. Okay. So, you know, a lot of times cards, you know, when you think of board wipes and you think of, like, a deck that, you know, an EDH that runs some board wipes, you want things that destroy artifacts, creatures, enchantments, planeswalkers. You want, like, a variety of those things. So that if someone throws something threatening on the battlefield, you can, or, like, a million things that are threatening, you can make sure you can deal with it. So I really like cards that are, like, yes, destroy all creatures because it has its place, and a lot of times you want to keep your artifacts and enchantments and planeswalkers, whatever. But you do need some things that just get rid of, like, everything on the board. And this card does that. So basically, it's each non-land permanent. And what's super awesome about this is if someone's running, like, something that's, like, 10 mana or whatever, you can just, like, destroy it. So it's really cool. It's good in the early game, it's good in the mid game, good in the late game, like, just kind of a good card in general. I like it. Then we have Curse of the Swine, and I'm actually talking about this because of Justin, because he loves this card. And it's so funny because I remember, like, we were playing EDH one time, and, like, okay, so I have Avacyn, and, like, a lot of times people just can't do anything, because once you get Avacyn, your board's indestructible, and they're like, Path Avacyn, and they're like, you're like, okay, sweet, replay Avacyn next turn. Sounds good. Okay, you just get to that mana and like that deck. That's just what happens. So I'm like, yo, I'm invincible, like no one can do anything to me. And then Justin's like, Curse of the Swine? And then I'm like, but I had Indestructible, and then they all got exiled. This card is super sweet. Yeah, you give them some, you know, 2/2 tokens. And you know what I just realized? That this card is totally a reference to the Odyssey. And I can't believe I just realized that, but I'm really excited now because I love the Odyssey. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Any English nerds out there who get me? Okay, Odyssey's great. Great thing. Okay. So that's sweet. So anyways, this card's just like really good because you exile their things, you give them some 2/2s, you don't really care about the 2/2s. Not really. You just, like, blow them up with something else, or you just get attacked for a little while. Like, you just don't really care. The card's great. Okay, then I don't actually even know. Oh, I know what this card does. Okay. Pernicious Deed. So, you know how I was talking about earlier how I really don't like Disc because it chills on the battlefield? I like this card, though, because it chills on the battlefield, but if you have mana open for it, you can just pop it at any time, so them destroying it doesn't even do anything, it just forces you to pop it off sooner. Yeah, you get rid of creatures, artifacts, and enchantments, and you do get to manipulate the mana cost, which is super awesome, so if you have, like, a ton of high mana cost stuff, you can just blow up everyone's, like, else's little things and then keep your stuff around. Yeah, overall, card's just, like, really sweet. I like it. And then we have Whirlwind, because, like, honestly, like, sometimes you just, like, you're playing green and you have, like, no removal. Or let me rephrase, like, you don't have good creature removal, and green definitely suffers because of that. It excels in a lot of things, but it is not good in the removal department, the creature removal department. So Whirlwind is really good, like, if you, like, you have your play group of friends and you know, like, there's this one person who plays, like, a ton of flyers or whatever. Like, I know some EDH games, the way that they work out is, like, you're playing and, like, everyone else at the table has a flyer but you. Like, you're just chilling over there and you're like... You know, it's like those games when, like, people copy a ton of things. You know when Profit was around and, like, you would make a profit and then the person next to you would make a profit? And the person in front of you would make a profit, and then everyone had profits except for that one kid. Yeah. Sometimes it's like that with flyers. It's like that with Avacyn. Like, I have Avacyn, and then someone's like, copy Avacyn, and like, whatever. So sometimes, I mean, this card doesn't do anything against Avacyn, but sometimes everyone just has flyers, and you just can't deal with them. And sometimes you're in green, and you just have no good creature removal, and you need things, and this card mildly okay. Yeah. Okay. I have a lot of energy. Don't even know where it's coming from. I thought I needed a nap, but apparently I need to film YouTube videos instead. Okay, and the last card I want to be talking to you guys about is Terminus, and it's funny is I don't actually run this card in any of my... I don't run a lot of these cards, I just know that they're good cards. But, it's super good. It's really good against, like, creature token strategies. This card's really, really good against Omnath. If you got someone in your group that's playing Omnath, someone like myself, and you're like... I really need you to get rid of your Omnath tokens, but Omnath tokens are super difficult for a lot of people to remove because you destroy them and guess what? You take a lot of damage and you're like a lightning bolt 18 times and you're dead. So that happens. So getting to Miracle this is also really good. A lot of people run this with Sensei's Divining Top, i.e. that's totally a deck in Legacy. I know some things about that format, not a lot, but I know that. Yeah, so if you're running top or like other manipulation things where you like know the top card of your library, you're scrying a lot, things like that, Terminus is definitely like a really good card to have. Because, you know, it's really good against token strategies. Even if not, even if you just like, you know, you're about to die due to someone's board and you can just 1 mana put them all back on the bottom of the library, yeah. Or sometimes you just straight up hard cast it for 6. Sometimes you do that. Yeah, You know, I always feel like a lot of times with like those cards that are designed a specific way, I feel like I never play them like that. Like I feel like if I played with this card, I would always end up hard casting it because I would always be in my hand at like the start of the game and I'd be like, all right, cool, this is after I've mulled and I'm like, all right, well, I've got Terminus in my hand. It's gonna be more than 6 turns since we got there to cast this. So yeah. But yeah, that was it for talking about board wipes. Other two will be in the description. Should have said at the beginning, forgot, but you know, it's cool. That's it. That's all I got. See you guys later.